Hey guys, it's Aliana. First I want to say, I found something to overthink before I started recording this video. I was like, should I go on horizontal or vertical? And then I decided to do you guys a favor. I know most of you don't have an eye on your forehead, so I'll just film it like this. Anyway, this is my 30-day video reflection. For those of you who don't know, well, welcome, first of all. And then second, for the last month or so, I basically recorded a video every single day by 9 a.m. and in this video, I'm going to share with you everything that I've learned about my own creative process, mistakes that I was making, how did this help me, and I'm going to share with you some of the things I discovered about my audience or people in the process of doing this. So how I'm going to structure this video is that there's going to be first a setup, so there's going to be a portion of the video where I explain the conditions of the test so that you understand, and this is by no means a scientific experiment, but I think it's necessary to understand the context. Then there's going to be a portion for insights and findings, so if you're only interested in knowing what did you learn, what can I learn from this experience, you can scroll there or fast forward there. And then the last portion is going to be self-reflection. If you're seeing me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Self-reflection is the part where I'm sharing a little bit of what I learned about myself and my own creative process. I think there is stuff to be learned there. Feel free to watch it if it sounds interesting. We'll start with the setup. Okay, what inspired the 30-day challenge in the first place? Why did I even start it? What was the goal, or what was I hoping to get out of it? Basically, I was trying to record a video, my usual weekly video, and I was feeling so much resistance, and I recorded it twice or 3 times that day. This was like a little bit over a month ago. I recorded it back to back and I did not like any of them, and I was just so frustrated. So I recorded a rant. I think you can go check it out. It's called Day Zero. That was just a pure rant, unplanned for, and it's kind of funny to watch it back because I was a little bit pissed, but also laughing at my own frustration, So anyway, that video, on the spot, I decided that I wanted to do a 30-day video challenge. I was like, you know what? I need to unclench my own starfish. I'm gonna make a video every single day for the next 30 days. Now, the rules that I set: a video every day by 9 a.m., no batching, no planning beforehand. So everything that we gotta create, we're gonna create on the spot. And I thought this is what's going to cure my perfectionism, because I know when I set time limits, I have no way of overthinking the thing, or I can't give myself a chance to do that. So I set a limit that I'm gonna publish the video by 9 a.m. That means think of an idea, flesh it out, writing, and then organizing your own thoughts, editing, recording, editing the video again if you're going to edit. If you're gonna create a thumbnail, you do that. I wasn't doing that. And then also uploading it on LinkedIn, YouTube, and my own blog, and then figuring out the titles, the hashtags, etc., all of it by 9 a.m. So quite a bit of work, and most of the time I was freaking recording at like 8:45. So yeah. Next question: how was I going to measure the success or progress of the challenge? Well, I set everything under my control. I decided pretty early on I wasn't going to look at the views, the likes, the comments. That wasn't the main thing. Of course, those things are appreciated, but the goal was for me to show up every day and make a video by 9 a.m. and to make sure that I'm making a little improvement every time. So what is the one thing I can improve next time, and practice that until I can add another thing and another thing and another thing, which is part of how I work with my clients too, by the way. And this is pretty much every program that I help them to create content with. We do the same process of making videos, a lot of fast improvements. We focus on quantity before quality. So that's exactly what I did. Now, as far as metrics that were not completely in my control, I thought about click-through rates and average percentage viewed. Basically, are people clicking through? Are they finding the title intriguing and interesting enough that they would want to watch it? And then once they click, are they finding enough value and interest and engagement with the video that they would continue watching? And this, of course, excluded, I didn't create any shorts throughout this period. All of the videos were roughly 4 to 9 minutes or so. Next, what were some of the biggest challenges that I faced and how did I deal with them? Well, this one is pretty easy. Week 1, I immediately noticed there was a lot of rambling. And so week 1, I decided that I was going to make my video less than 5 minutes. And also I was noticing that I wasn't publishing the videos by 9 a.m. sharp. So I was getting a little frustrated with myself publishing at 9:12, 9:24. And I was like, no, it needs to be 9 sharp, just because it's just a question of principle. I was like, if I don't do that with clients, if I don't do that with other people, then it follows that I don't do it with myself, because I wouldn't like it if somebody else did that to me, so why am I doing it to myself? Now that was pretty challenging because it meant I had to wake up earlier a little bit, I had to be a little bit more strict with my time in the morning, be accountable for every minute, and it's a bit of a challenge because I really liked my mornings to be slow and easy, you know. I did not like getting up and immediately hustling. That was not my style. I used to spend a lot of time going out for walks. Actually, the first thing I did before this challenge, the first thing I did in the morning was actually drawing. So I would wake up and the first thing I'd do is just grab my sketchbook and sketch. Now, nothing major, but just a little bit of sketching. Sometimes I would write, a lot of times I would spend time for sure outside, you know, in nature, for sure, you know, just being able to absorb a little bit of sunlight. Sunrise is very important to me. So all of these things, I had to rush a little bit in order to make that video by 9 a.m. And that is not at all how I like to work. So that was a bit of a challenge. And then also the not rambling, because I didn't have the time to actually prime myself in my mind. And I was, you know, I wasn't even like meditating. I didn't have time to do any of those things. I still needed at least that little space in the morning. I liked to not be bothered with anything, and having to jump out of bed and immediately go and go grab something and record and whatever, it just wasn't aligned with my energy, but I still did it. Anyway, that made it really, really challenging to not ramble. Just be aware that your performance, when you're trying something like this, when you remove the element of time, it's very possible that the things that come very easily to you normally all of a sudden are going to be more challenging. I know, like, saying it like that, it's like, okay, yeah, of course, but it's so easy to forget that. At least for me, I'm speaking of myself, it's so easy to start making it mean something about myself. Like, why am I not operating at the level that I expect of myself? In that moment, I start to question myself, like, why am I not doing more? You know? And it helps to remind myself of that every once in a while. I was also really dealing with lack of sleep, again, because I had to change my schedule so much. Content creation is not my main thing, okay? Like, I love it, but it's not my day job, if you will, not making videos like this. And so that was time that I had to make up for other things, and that meant also that a lot of times I had to work a little bit later to make it up, and so that also meant less sleep. So anyway, so all of these things playing together definitely affected my performance on the videos, and I could see that. I always knew how important it is to be in optimal shape, and then I got to see that during this month. When you're tired, the difference in how you show up versus when you have had time to rest and prepare for something and prime yourself for creation. Because truly, I don't think creators talk about this enough, but creating is, I don't want to say it's taxing, because it's not, because it does give me energy, but it also makes me tired. It actually takes effort, and at the same time it brings me energy and joy. All right, let's talk about which videos did best. Okay, I thought this was really surprising, but the videos that talked about my weekly reflections actually did the best. For some reason, these are the ones that people, when I say best, I'm talking about average percentage viewed, okay? So even if they were long, people watched them almost until the end. Most people watched them until the end, so I thought it was interesting. Obviously, videos that tackled a painful problem in the title, of course, they had more views. But the surprising thing is that even though they did better in terms of views, they didn't necessarily do better in terms of click-throughs, that is how many people clicked through from the people that it was presented to, or the average percentage viewed. So those people who clicked, did they actually stick around to finish the video? Not really. I have to stress this because it's really important. This is not a big audience, so this is not really like statistically significant, if you will. It's not something that I would look at as proper science. It's just talking about my own experience. But it was very clear to me that just because a video does well in terms of views doesn't mean that it's actually resonating with people. I think there's something about the algorithm showing it to more people because more people are searching these keywords. Here's the bottom line, what I've learned. Based on all the videos that I've made, the combo, if you will, the three things are, first, talking about a problem in the title, and then tackling it with an interesting POV that is related to the problem. So an interesting point of view, and then adding your own personal story or inner reflection and talking about yourself. Those three things, when you combine them together, they can help A, the algorithm put you in front of more people, B, get more click-throughs because there's intrigue. That's what makes people want to click, is that the title is interesting, but I don't have the complete answer, so I want to click through to read more, learn more. And then if the video is interesting, engaging, the pace is good, it is valuable, it's keeping them engaged essentially, like from one point to another, the likelihood that the person is going to stick around and keep watching is higher. Now, we're not necessarily doing all of this because these metrics matter to YouTube. I like to think of them in the most human way possible. What are they telling me? Not what do they say about me, but like, what can I get out of this, like as far as feedback about how people are responding to the way I'm communicating a message. Yes, of course, like we don't care about the algorithm or whatever, but we do at some level because we're using this tool to expose our work to more people. But there are things that are more important than exposing it to more people. But if there's an opportunity to do that, by all means, I would do that, okay? If it doesn't change the truth of the message, I would do that. If you're talking about a problem, A, it's better served by the algorithm, and B, people are more likely to actually click on it because they care. Having an interesting point of view makes it intriguing for somebody to keep watching, and then sharing your own personal experience, as I've seen from the reflections, and it was consistent. It was like, you'd see like the videos, some of the videos not perform that well, and then bam, all of a sudden week 1 reflection and average view, percentage view there's a spike, and then again, and that happens again week 2, week 3, and then interestingly, like people were sending me messages like, hey, we are looking forward to this 30-day reflection. There's definitely something there, so I'm gonna test it, and I invite you to try it as well. I think there could be something there that can help you both access more people with your videos on YouTube. I'm talking about YouTube specifically here, and as well as getting the clicks and the average view time. And as I'm saying this, there's a voice in my head that's like, but that's not your expertise, Eliana. Like, you really shouldn't be talking about this, you know? You should be talking about other areas of marketing that are within your understanding. There are people out there who are experts at this. So this is my personal experience. I just want to share what I have learned. Here's another thing. It's not surprising, but it's worth mentioning. Negative titles or things that are talking about don't lose X or how to avoid Y, they did a lot better in terms of views, so go figure. But again, not necessarily in terms of click-throughs or in terms of average percentage viewed. So examples of those videos are, if my content sucks, will it lose people or something like that? I think that was the highest number of views during the 30-day challenge. But then that video was at the bottom in terms of how, like, the average percentage of people completing the video. Okay, which videos didn't resonate as much, and why do you think that is? I think videos that didn't have a clear title where you have to think about what is this about. And I'm not talking about creating intrigue. I'm talking, you really don't know what is this about, and it reads heavy, you know? You trip over the words a little bit. It's not an easy thing to just, for your mind to just capture and understand immediately what it's talking about. Those videos don't do very well in terms of views, click-throughs. Maybe if people click on them, they may or may not do well in terms of how much of the video a person is going to watch. But passing strangers, are they going to look at it? Yes or no? That's a 50-50. And funny anecdote, as I was diving into these analytics, I actually, because I had to deactivate the extensions, I went down a rabbit hole. I got distracted by like 2 hours on YouTube watching random shit, and then I caught myself like, what happened? Also, videos that gave out the main point too soon. So even though we want to start with what is the main point, we don't want to say everything in the beginning of the video. And I talked to my clients about this, but it's funny that I didn't follow my own advice. I think it's because I just didn't have enough time to really revisit or organize my own ideas during this challenge. But you always want to tell people why they should keep watching, and that's just important. Even if you're talking to people that you know, who trust you, who like you, who will listen to you, people zone out. It's so easy to just zone out, you know? And so continuously tying it back to them and why this matters to them kind of keeps them awake and engaged. Another interesting thing I learned is that YouTube will definitely give you some sort of push if you're posting a lot of content. I think all platforms do this to some extent. So if you're posting all the time, the platform thinks that, oh, okay, this creator is going to be committed to this. They seem to be serious about this. And it is in their benefit to try to give you a push. And also you're giving them more data for the algorithm to learn about you. Like, who do I serve this content to? And so I noticed pretty quickly that even though, again, the audience is very small and the number of views is very small, but these videos, most of them collected the same amount of views in one day or in a few hours than my other videos would in like a few days of being published. And so one day would be the equivalent of like even a couple of weeks or even a month for another video. And that's just because I started to post every single day. Were there any specific tools that you use that you would recommend? Oh, this is where I realized actually I probably should be investing in more tools and should be using more tools if I'm wanting to create quickly. Here's the thing. Usually when I'm creating, I've carved out the time in my own schedule to do creative work. Okay, so it's fun, it's joyful, I have a whole ritual about it. And I have my own processes and my systems and my templates. I can do it as quickly as I want to, and as I can do it also, I can take as much time as I want to. But if I'm doing the quick route with my usual creative process, it has to be batched. It doesn't work if I'm creating a new video every single day. It becomes a little bit too heavy for my own taste. It's not an effortless creation. It's not even like a slightly challenging creation. It becomes a little bit too much. So tools like TubeBuddy, for example, helps you come up with titles, helps you come up with SEO rich titles and do a little bit of research. And that would have been very helpful. Knowing how to use these tools very well would have been very helpful for someone who's trying to create on the spot, doesn't have the time to brainstorm all of these ideas by themselves or all of these titles. And a tool like that could have helped. So I'm definitely going to be looking more into these tools as I go. By the way, if you know any extensions that you use, let me know about them. All right, what's been great about this whole experience? Like, what are some of the benefits that I have gotten out of it? Well, first of all, the main reason why I did it is the whole perfectionism thing and like needing to just get over this idea that I need to make good content and just create, because good content happens when you create a lot of content. That's been my experience, is you have to have quantity at first in order to practice, in order to learn, and then, or at least to get going, to stop being afraid in the first place. And so, you know, I have to create more. And like I mentioned before in many of my videos, in 2022, I was creating a lot more. I was creating a weekly video and then 3 weekly shorts, so 4 videos per week. And in 2023, that went down to an average of less than a video per week, so 3 videos per month on average. So it went from 17 to 3 videos per month. Now, the quality was so much better in my experience. I had more experience. I had a lot less fear. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I still had fear, but I learned how to cope with the fear of being on camera. I developed my own processes and systems. I had the templates, etc., etc. And I gave myself the space now to make videos that I really loved, that I was, you know, being creative with, allowing myself the space to think about these concepts, not really creating pressure that, oh, I have to create this way or that way for the algorithm or for people or whatever. Not that I was doing that before, but I allowed myself to really do things my way. Like I wasn't even freaking using thumbnails anymore. You know, I just removed thumbnails. Committed all the sins that you could think of posting on social media. Okay, all the marketing sins, all the things. I was like, I don't care. I want to do it my way. This is how I want to do it. So I did it that way. That's great. That's awesome. But I reached a place where I was feeling, I don't know, like there's stuff I want to create, but I know I don't have the skills for it yet. And I know that it's going to require more of me, more of my practice, more. And I'm happy to do that. And then there's this discrepancy where I really desire to create good things. And then, but I just don't have the skills. I don't have the skills for it yet. It's so frustrating. So anyway, so I was like, well, create then. Fucking create and practice and do it. That's how you're gonna get better, by doing it. Anyway, so this resistance to creating stuff and feeling like maybe it's not good enough, it just went out the window. It's like, of course it's not. It is great, but it's not good enough. It's like both at the same time. It's like, who cares? Nobody cares. A reminder that nobody fucking cares. That's exactly what I needed, and that's exactly why I did this challenge, and it was great. So the time it took for me to press the record button and just record and just let it go if I make mistakes and whatever, the time went down significantly. I didn't have the space and time to overthink things. I was like, yeah, I know that is something I would have done better, but now that I don't have the time, I have to make the choice, the difficult choice of just being like, yeah, I know that part of the video is not good and I could have done it better, but I don't have time. I have to ship it just like that and then just sit. I mean, I can't remember the last time I created a video where I actually cringed before this challenge. And this challenge, I remember at least one video I was like, I cringed. That was the video where I didn't know what topic to talk about, and I was flustered in the video. I was like, oh my god, like this is the epitome of everything I don't want to do. But yeah, I made a video that I was like, I don't have a topic, so I'm just gonna do a minute of silence. And I just sat there, silent for a minute, posted that, and I was like, what? Like days after, I looked back and I was like, what was the purpose of that shit? You know, and how is that helping anybody, and why, and what? I am so confused about existence. But anyway, I just left it. So yeah, that's that. Another cool thing that happened is I just stopped thinking that the stars had to align for flow to happen. Like, I need this long ritual for things, you know, I go and sit by the fire pit and then sit by the lake and then do this and do that or whatever to be in a space to do your best creative work. Yeah, that's great, but you can also just do it and just let go of the need for it to be the best that you can do. It's okay, you know, sometimes you just want to create something, and that's okay. So I proved to myself that I could actually make it happen despite not having all of the things that I love doing in the morning, like sitting in the sunrise and whatever, you know, romanticizing my life. What were some of the biggest aha moments and unexpected lessons and insights? Well, I learned that if you set some rules and then you rebel against your own rules, it's probably because these rules don't make any sense to you. And you just feel like they're arbitrary. And that's what happened with me in this 30-day challenge. I know I said, oh, I ramble a lot. What is that sound in the background? I don't know, sorry about that.
I'll close the window here.
For example, I said I was going to set a 5-minute limit because I ramble, okay? So I did that. I did that 5 out of 7 days that week. And then after that, I was like, that's not really the goal. The goal is to stop rambling, not to limit myself to 5 minutes. I mean, yeah, it's a nice band-aid. It does help you keep a target and be like, yeah, I have to say this in less than 5 minutes. But that often created this kind of frantic energy where I was like looking down at the camera like this, constantly looking at the timer that I had set, when I could have just said, you know what, just don't fucking ramble. But that would have been, I don't know why I had resistance to that idea. I was like, oh, you're disciplining me. Like the mind is like, oh no, you're disciplining me. I don't like this. But I can just try to wrap it in 5 minutes. And then we did that. And then my mind was like, no, I don't like it. 5 minutes is a stupid rule. It's a made up rule. Not doing it. But I did find myself rambling a lot less. Just the intention of being like, okay, hey, if I'm going to catch a thought, you know, and I have like these caveats and stuff, and I try to explain something because I want to make it as accurate and correct as possible, and because my brain just likes to overthink everything. I was like, if I catch a thought, I'll just stop it. It's not that I'm not aware of it. I am 100% aware of it, but I just don't want to apply the discipline to stop it. Discipline yourself, Aliana. That's basically the idea. Unexpected insight number 2. I mentioned it earlier about the creative process, but I'll say it again. The creative process that I have right now, it's great if you want to create pieces that will be forever. Like you want to create something, a few pieces that are corner pieces of your content, things that you can reuse over and over and over. Nobody will ever get bored of them. People will use them multiple times because they are just like, they require a lot of thinking about a certain topic that you really want to nerd out on, and you want to create something that explains, lays out like the master plan. This is great. This is a great process for that. It asks you the right questions. It helps you organize your thoughts in a way that captures people's attention and then explains why this matters to them, etc., etc. But then you end up with a video that's like 46 minutes just saying, like, it's not even like rambling. It's truly it's a whole class. Like you end up with so much. So this is the entire creative process that I have. But then if you want to make a 5-minute video in the morning just to say good morning, I have a thought, goodbye, then that process becomes a little bit problematic. It doesn't really work the same way. Insight number 3, I learned that people really respond very, very well to 3 things. Content that helps them gain clarity, confidence, and creativity. Don't ask me why. I haven't thought about it yet. Maybe because I actually target those people. That could be it. It could be that I'm targeting people who are, you know, creative, people who are exploring their creativity, who are building their confidence, who are gaining clarity or trying to get direction and clarity about their own worked. So yeah, it follows that these people, this is why I said it's not very scientific. Anyway, when you are starting out creating content, one of the first things you need to do is create a lot. And when you're trying to improve your skill set, you should be creating a lot. However, to actually create a good piece, I believe there needs to be time. Most people really need a lot of time in order to be able to create content that covers all points. Great idea, great expansion of the idea, very well organized, very well edited, very well shot, all the creative, expression, and delivered in a beautiful packaging. So having learned the skill set to master your composition, your lighting, etc., etc., and then, being able to play around with concepts and deliver your idea in a way that's, because if you have those creative skills, then you can express so much more. There are some things that I can do like this in a talking head video that they're not gonna land as well as when I am able to express them with those skills, it is something I'm working on. In a parallel universe, I am working on a few ways to express my ideas in different ways, different formats, because sometimes words just they don't work. Your performance also suffers when you create a high quantity, because yes, it helps you improve your your skills. Yes, it helps you practice, but then at the same time, it's really difficult to be able to give every video a chance, a good opportunity to shine, if you will. When I made those 40-some minute videos, I knew how I was going to share them, who I was going to share them with, what title I was going to give them, what tags, things like that. And I may not have optimized them, not even to 20% of what I could do, honestly. But at least I gave them time and space. And I would republish them on other platforms. I would share them in my newsletters. I would share them on the blog. I would tell people on LinkedIn. Sometimes I would recreate carousels or posts out of them. I will extract shorts. I will maybe make a short and promote the video. And so I had the time and space to do all these things to support this one video that I put a lot of effort and time into. But when you're cranking out commercial videos every day, 5 minutes every day, 5-minute video, 10-minute video, and you have to publish it by 9 a.m., like the rule that I made for myself, it's really, really hard to think of a great title and all the tags and do all the things, and do it methodically. So it's kind of like you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall kind of thing. But like I said, it's exactly what I needed for the challenge, for what I wanted to improve. So I have no regrets, but it's really, really, really a choice between what exactly are you trying to do? Are you trying to improve and get good? Make a lot of videos. Are you already satisfied with your current level and you're wanting to express some creative ideas? Then carve out the time. Do you want to do both? You can do that, but you're going to have to manage your time and your energy better. And that's exactly what I'm doing in 2024. I'm going to be making a lot of videos because I want to improve, and I want to I want my videos to do both performance and express myself creatively. I refuse to believe that you can do both things at the same time and that you have to choose either or. So I'm going to be creating content for content marketing and content for creative self-expression, and merging both at the same time whenever is possible. I'm going to be doing all these things. May not be able to do everything I want this in 1 year. Definitely not. It's probably going to be a lifetime thing, but I'm here for it. Other insight I had, which I stopped counting, is I really like cozy, gentle energy. That shouldn't come as a surprise, but it's just how I operate. I can manufacture this fast, quick work bursts when needed. I can tap into that, but that takes something of me, and I need to regenerate after. I can get in the space of talking to a lot of people at the same time and everything, but I still need space and time for myself. So it's not like introverted or extroverted or whatever. I really don't believe in these concepts. I think, you could just stop being attached to either one and just be whatever you need to be for the moment that you're in. That's really it. But generally speaking, my productivity style is slow and mellow and gentle and don't fuck with my vibe kind of, work. And I don't thrive in fast-paced environments. There's a reason why I struggled so much with so many typical business settings. I just don't like being in that. I don't like being rushed, if you will. Something to be aware of, that your productivity may not look like other people's productivities, and that's okay. For me, it's important. It's really important, even for like my nervous system, to have periods of time in my day like this. It doesn't have to be my entire day like this, no. There are times when I get like these bursts of energy and I'm just hyper and I have a lot of energy and a lot of drive and everything, but then there are times when I'm just like, just chilling, just really mellow, and I like to be, I don't want to be in that other energy all day, every day. I can't do that. It's not for me. So basically the bottom line, what I realized, which I already knew, but I could really see it this time, is that if I want to create high volume without losing my mind, I need to batch. And if I want to create good stuff, you know, creative self-expression, I need time. And if I want to do both, I have to get very serious about my boundaries around time and when I do certain tasks, and get very disciplined about my own thinking. And that is just the only way I can pull off doing both of these things at the same time. At least doing them in a way that doesn't sacrifice my well-being. Okay, finally, self-reflection. I feel like even the insights were really blending into self-reflections. I found a way to just talk about myself, like I always do. So that was actually not nice. My husband is laughing.
Great job.
Thank you.
Show them how to not do it.
I don't know, what does that mean? What do you mean by show them how to not do it? I don't get it.
Like you said, that's nice to myself.
Yeah.
If you're right, you should be nicer to yourself. I agree. It's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So, if you're watching this, I don't know, I'm still making the creative decision, if you will, if I would have left or not left the conversation that I just had with my husband over there. But he's in case it wasn't loud enough or I cut it or whatever, he said, yeah, you should show them how to be nice to yourselves. And yeah, I just see, like, I sometimes uncover things like that comment that I made, that was snarky, and that's something I would never say to someone else. I would never jokingly be like, oh yeah, you found a way to talk about yourself. I'd be like glued, like listening to them and interested in hearing about them, especially if I care about them. And then I do that to myself. It's so interesting. But there's just something in me, and it's so funny that this is like under self-reflection. This is not from the self-reflection that I wrote in my notes or for the video. This is really just what came up literally in this 1 second, the few minutes as I was recording this. I always have this feeling that every time I open my mouth and say anything that is not solving somebody else's problem or giving somebody else what they need, if I'm ever talking about myself or reflecting about my own experience or sharing my own experience, I feel like I am just taking up, I'm getting attention to myself that I shouldn't be getting, or that I'm just, I don't know, just being self-centered or self-important or whatever. And it's a very interesting thought to come up, because before I even started making videos, this is one of the biggest challenges I had, is that I felt that I was, you're so self-important. You wanna start building in public. You wanna talk about your experience. You wanna share your process. Who cares? Turns out a lot of people do care. I care more than anything. I care. Like, this has been so transformative for me personally. This has been healing for me. This is important for me, for my well-being, to do this, to create videos like this, to talk about my experience and share it, even if nobody watches. And some people do watch. Some people do care. Some people do listen. But it's incredibly important for me to be able to process these things and then share them with somebody else, because this sharing, I feel like, not only helps heal me, but it also maybe helps somebody else know that they're not alone, and helps them make sense of their own experience. And I think there's a lot of value in that. But it's just very interesting how I made that snarky comment, oh yeah, you found a way to talk about yourself again, Anyway, if anybody else did that to me or said that to me, nobody does that to me, because nobody but me does that to me. That's the worst part. Is like, I can be my own worst bully. Nobody ever, not ever. that definitely came from somewhere. Nobody in my recent history said to me that I was talking too much about myself. So anyway, and even if they did, fuck them. It's my fucking experience. It's my existence. It's my experience. I'm gonna share it. like, yeah, there's like a blurry line between expressing yourself and creating content for marketing versus content to express yourself versus content for other purposes. And mixing these two when you're creating an authentic or real business that is heart-centered can be a very interesting space to be in. You know, and you have to learn how to be a master of boundaries to be able to hold that. Anyway, moving on. Self-reflection, part 2. This is a pre-scripted part. In what ways do you feel like you've grown as a content creator as a result of this experience? Well, I've unclenched my own butthole, which is great. It's an ongoing process. This whole life is a journey of me unclenching my butthole as I inspire others around me to do the same. I've worked through inner stuff as well, so you know, it's been so long since I've had judgments while making videos, judgments like that, you know, but as I was making those videos, there were times when I noticed how I was thinking, oh my God, the algorithm is definitely hating this. Like on LinkedIn, for example, right? Like I'm posting these 8-minute videos, which is a no-no. Like there's like, people are just scrolling. They're just scrolling. They're just a little bit, it's becoming a little bit like Instagram and other channels in some ways, not always, okay? But it's like more of a top of the funnel kind of thing, and people network, and the platform wants you exchanging DMs with people and having conversations and stuff. It doesn't necessarily want you posting an 8-minute video. It wants you to create a short post that's digestible, a quick insight. Give me an expert, a snackable expert piece of information, of insightful information. That's basically LinkedIn. Maybe definitely a carousel. They love their carousels on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will, I've tested this extensively in 2023, carousels do really, really, really well in terms of impressions. That is how many people LinkedIn will just generously serve you to and be like, guys, check out this content creator. They're making carousels. This is so awesome. So that's what LinkedIn does with carousels and with text, and especially text with your own image. Now, I know all these things and I don't do 90% of them. This is the interesting part as a marketer turned creator. It's like, I know all these things, but I don't fucking want to do them. Because I'm not going to pull an image out of my butt just because that's what the algorithm wants. But then I also don't want to necessarily push it. And LinkedIn banned me multiple times, with or without reason. I really don't know why. I mean, I only talk about buttholes. So anyway, but they banned me multiple times. They think that my activity on my account looks suspicious. So they're like, oh my God, you are using bots, we are banning you. I'm like, I have never used bots, what the hell are you talking about? But they won't believe me. So anyway, long story short, that there was one time during the challenge that they banned me 4 times in a 24-hour period. Who does that? Why? And every time you get banned, it does something, at least in my experience, it does something to your reach and to your views. And so at the same time as I'm doing this thing that is criminal to the algorithm, right? I am posting 8-minute videos every single day, and the algorithm is like, we are not showing you to anybody. The impressions, like there were days when the impressions were like 77, right? And like it's got 3 likes or whatever, and the algorithm is like, stop doing it, Eliana. I'm like, nope, tomorrow I come back at the same time to make another one of the videos that you absolutely freaking hate. Well, actually, it's not the algorithm, it's the people, right? The algorithm also mirrors like what is most people's taste. Like they have audiences for those texts and image posts. They have audiences for the carousels. They just don't have audiences, that many audiences for people who are watching 8-minute videos on LinkedIn. So it's nothing personal. I'm not upset. I'm just saying this is what was happening. And during the time as this was happening in my mind, I was thinking, oh fucking God. Like, A, like, who cares? B, this is not good. You should be doing better. C, oh my God, you're gonna drive your account to the ground. They're probably gonna ban you forever. And then you lose contact with all of your friends and stuff on LinkedIn. And I was like, that didn't happen. I had amazing conversations the entire time. You know what? During this 30-day challenge, shout out to my friends and audience and network. I don't know what to call you guys. Friends, really. Who have been there almost every day, some of you, and just having great conversations, sending me messages, and your support. Really, really had a great time. And I actually built some really nice relationships as a result of this challenge. So people that I was connected to, I started talking to almost every day, and got to know some incredible human beings in the process. So I am deeply grateful for that. But I've worked through a lot of stuff during this challenge. The other way this changed me as a creator is I've become more okay with being flawed. Don't know how to explain this. I've always been flawed, but I've become more okay with it. There is my deep reflection of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I'm recording this on Saturday night when it should be going on Saturday. It's just what I do, deal with it. I've also let myself not be as professional as I think I am. I don't know, I feel like my whole life I've felt at some level that I am sort of, I don't know, I'm not making sense, you know? And I need to be a certain way for people to take me seriously. And so not being professional is kind of scary. Not being proper and square is kind of scary. But I broke out of it. I like to think I broke out of that shit. And I kept breaking out of that shit. So I'm proud of myself. What is the biggest thing that you took away from this 30-day challenge? I love creating. I was born to create. I am a creator. It's not just a job title that I want to have or something. It's not just like a social title. It's what I am. I'm a creator. I love it. And all I want to do is get better at it. Not even because it's going to help me in some way. Of course it will. But just because I feel compelled to do it. I feel like this is it. My plans for 2024 and beyond. I will continue to use my own creative process for heavier pieces maybe. But I'm actually probably gonna drop a lot of it a lot of times and instead tune into how the message wants to be expressed, even if it doesn't make any sense. And I'm likely going to do 2 types of content at least. One, which is my business, my work kind of content, which is the content marketing. And that is going to be built with the intention of automating it. And then the other part is going to be the creative kind of content. And what would be the sweet spot is finding opportunities to merge these two together. I know how to do it. The problem is, again, because I want to create a lot of content, it's not going to be possible for me to continue doing this creative flowing thing all the time with every single piece of content when I have intentions for actual business growth. And so I am putting on my real life hat, Aliana, and I am going to be creating more content in that direction as well that is growing the audience. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that I talk a lot about the 3 levels of audience building, or the 3 levels of relationships and marketing, and level 1, which is attention, level 2, which is interest, and level 3, which is trust, which any relationship usually goes through these 3 phases. I talk about this a lot in my programs. I talk about it with my clients all the time because it is the basis of everything that we talk about. It's not just the funnel that we talk about in marketing, but there's a sphere in your audience. And so being able to merge these two things is incredibly important if you are building a business and being a creator at the same time. And so what I want to do is I want to merge these 2 things together. It is possible, but in order to do that, in order to be able to create a lot and also create really, really good stuff at the same time, I have to increase my skill. First of all, I have to stretch my capacity even more as far as my productivity, my ability to create more, to move through the resistance better, to do more inner work, to lean more into my intuition with certain topics, and then lean more on a process with certain other topics. I need to grow as a person, and so there's a progression. I know this is not just I decide to do this and this is what's going to happen. This is more of I decide to do this and now I'm going to undergo a process of evolving into that. And so I know that's probably going to take some time, but I'm going to be creating a lot more content. I'm also going to be doubling down on YouTube. I feel pulled and compelled to create and to learn more on the creative side without any clarity about the end goal and how it ties into my business. Like, how is all of this going to tie into my business? I don't know if it will, and if so, how. I just know that I'm being pulled in this direction. And every time I had a nudge to do something like this, with this kind of feeling, it was leading me towards something similar. The last time I felt this was probably 2014 to 2015. That was around the time that I when my first trip to India and had all the travels after that and whatnot. The time before that was 2006. That was also an interesting time in my life where I was shattering who I was and building a completely different human being. And it feels like it's time again. It's been 9 years and it feels like it's time again. So I don't know where it's leading me, but I feel excited and I feel compelled to move in that direction. And I'm very excited to share with you guys what I'm learning along the way. So that was it. That was my 30-day challenge, video challenge reflection. By the way, I am doing a workshop on March 23rd. So if you are building a brand of full self-expression, this is a free workshop. You can join me and some of my friends, my conscious creator and conscious entrepreneur friends. And we're going to talk about building your brand of full self-expression. I will share with you some exercises that you can apply on the spot. And then if you come live, there's going to be a Q&A as well. So you can ask me anything about your business. March 23rd, and I will put a link in the description or wherever you're watching this so that you can sign up to RSVP now. All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye.